All right, welcome everybody to the Broken Clown Podcast. We got a special guest with us today. We have the Rudy. He's come to drop some knowledge about conspiracy theories. We weren't going to do too big of a show today. We just want to kind of talk about what's going on, the limits of what's going down, and just get his thoughts and
keep it casual.
Right on. I like doing it in the afternoon now. Yeah. The morning feels more hustle and bustle. Rudy, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
Doing all right. I met Rudy back in 2012.
Yeah.
2012 on the side of the road.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, actually, I was protesting. I was holding up signs.
Oh, yeah.
It was back, I had stepped into the rabbit hole, and much as you and your brother were my comedian or comedy gurus, kind of taught me, the timing and all that kind of stuff. Rudy was my introductory guru to conspiracies.
Oh. Thanks a lot, Rudy.
No, it's I was.
You went down hard. You were gone for a while.
I was out there. I'm not gonna lie.
But whenever I met you, you were holding a sign that said like 9/11 truth on it.
That's true. Okay. That's a good point.
Everybody kind of
CDs or something.
It just didn't seem. Is the way they told it. So I had a good partner in crime. He came out there. He had his bullhorn, and he was like, "Hey, I'm here to help, man." And I met a lot of interesting people during that time, man. And
that's like classic Alex Jones. I remember the first time I ever saw Alex Jones was he was on a street corner with a bullhorn.
Oh, really?
Footage of him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, ours was named Mouth Lord.
Oh, that was, yeah.
A tattoo in Old English on the side of it said Mouth Lord.
I mean, it was great. It was classic stuff. I mean, I always remember like people flipping me off, and at one point I had Mason out there, and a lady went like this. She goes, like gunshot, and I was like, Jesus, lady, it's a child,
yeah.
And she was like, shouldn't bring him out here, and I was like, fuck. And then nowadays, you see kids out in protests, I'm like, yeah, shouldn't bring him out there,
right?
I was like, it's.
She had a point, but that was a fucked up way of.
Right, I was like, everybody was hating on me because I was black and I was opposing Obama. You know what I mean? And thinking back in hindsight, I could have done it in a much more way. I was making DVDs. Remember, I was looking up stuff and downloading it and making DVDs just to pass them out to people. And I had this car full of girls pulled up, and I was like, "Hey, yeah, take a seat." They're like, "Oh my God, are you a rapper?" I'm like, far from it. You probably just throw this out the window by the time you realize what this is.
Do you still have any of those?
Ooh,
that would be awesome to see what was on that. What did you put on it? Was it just like links and like text files and stuff?
No, it was actual videos I had pulled from the internet. Some of them were the caskets. They were placing on farms, like allowing people. It was like human or adult size caskets, and then they had child size ones.
Oh wow!
I don't know what they were for. I can't even remember. Literally,
I think they said they were for a pandemic.
Like for
really?
FEMA or something.
Oh, FEMA, yeah, right. They was just like in case we can't just go to a grave site and do that. Bubba, Mason, you're fucking up. Come on, Bubba, you gotta go back out there, okay?
No.
1, 2, Mason.
I can't. I don't know.
Lock that door, dude. Okay, that's definitely a part I'll have to erase.
Yeah.
I had, of course, 9/11 truth. I think I had what was the name of that? The 9/11 one, the real big movie that came out.
Oh, Zeitgeist?
It wasn't Zeitgeist.
Oh, Loose Change?
Loose Change.
Yeah.
I had that on there. And then a couple of things like linking Obama towards Muslims and, his insight on, like, the words he used just were un-American at the point in time. So I was knee-deep in it. And then we started Conspiracy Club.
Lasted one meeting.
I heard about that, yeah.
You want to tell them a story about the library? This will freak you out.
No,
man.
you told me.
Did I tell you?
It didn't freak me out.
He's like, it seems normal to me.
Yeah, it did.
No, she totally had it out for us. Rudy wrote a bunch of stuff on the chalkboard, right? And it was, and we didn't realize that it was like Freemason funded, right? So we had all that stuff on the chalkboard, and the lady was like, she's like, we need you out by now. You said you'd be out at this time. I was like, lady, we're leaving. Like, we're done.
I guess the adamant that she was that is kind of weird that she was so adamant.
And then they called us and told us we can never come back again. And of course, at that point, in our heads, we were like, they're covering it. They don't want us there no more. I mean,
didn't they also call the cops on us during the meeting or something?
Right, yeah. They were like, if you don't get out of here in a certain amount of time or whatnot, it's just like, we're going to... It was fucked up. It didn't help us whatsoever.
No, that would not, no.
Yeah, it came up again. That was like in 2012. In 2016, it came up again during my final custody hearing.
Oh, really?
Because they tried to drag up everything on you.
They pulled that up?
Wow.
What?
Wow. That came up?
I had to answer questions about Conspiracy Club and holding some. They tried to make the argument that I protest and put myself in danger to get clobbered and stuff like that, and that would put my
child in danger. Yeah.
They brought up a call that's crazy.
But lawyers and judges, they have jobs that attract danger, and nobody wants to take their kids away. You know what I mean?
Right. I guess I guarantee.
Oh, I won anyway.
You won, yeah, of course. Congratulations.
Yeah.
But now you think about it, now the tides are turned, they would fucking protest in a heartbeat over the shit that's going over nowadays. I feel. You know what I mean? It's just like, no, it's about black people. You have to do it.
But there's still that whole attitude of, like, if you're black, you have to believe a certain way. Like, you know what I mean? Like you were saying that you should have been for Obama because you were black to them.
Right.
Nowadays, you can't be a Trump supporter if you're black, or
it's such a stupid fucking thing to talk about. It's just like what I said when my parents were Southern Baptists. I was like, when did they become Democrats?
Right.
I was just like, this is the weirdest shit I've ever.
So your parents weren't Democrats?
No.
Oh, really?
Not as far as I know. They've always voted Republican.
Right on.
And then it was just like, oh, he's black. I got to vote for him. He seems legit. It's retarded.
Yeah, I really think colorblind is the way to go.
Yeah, just...
I think it was working fine. It was good. We were doing good for a while there until this shit came.
It's not like the Black Lives Matter and stuff. To me, it feels sort of like a left wing form of racism. Maybe not Black Lives Matter, but the idea that you have to identify what you are and
right. Yeah, the whole gender.
So weird. It's so contradictory.
Well, you saw what was it? New York Times. What was it? They're falling. They're collapsing. Because they got woke.
Yeah.
And it's just a bunch of clickbait. And they were pointing out. I think it was Tim Pool that was pointing out the buzzwords that were really getting them clicks was racism. Gender.
Right.
Feminist. Woman power. Blah blah. It's like they jumped on the bandwagon. Now it's hurting them in the long run. I was like, if they'd have just stayed, non-biased newspaper, they probably still would have been something. But they're trying to compete with BuzzFeed.
I mean, they've always been left-leaning, but they just went
off the deep end. Yeah,
they just went nuts.
They're like, oh, they're loving it.
I got confused on the term woke because
right, that was our word.
Because before woke, I used to say I was awake. Like or conspiracy theorists say they're awake.
Right.
And then for a while, I thought woke meant I was a conspiracy theorist. So I thought I was woke, and then I didn't realize that.
So they turned it on you.
Yeah, I'm just awake. I'm not. It's not the same thing.
Well, it's funny. Yeah, I was like, I'm so woke. I can see racism literally around every corner.
Awake is so much better. I like that.
Yeah,
I'm awake.
I'm awake now to the fact that so we were sleeping. Well, it's when I woke up, that's it was just like. Oh man, I hate dwelling in it. I hate looking back at it. It's not like I don't. Sorry. It's not that I hate myself for letting myself going that far out. It's just that I didn't do it in a proper manner with facts and logic.
Yeah, there's healthy ways to do it, and not unhealthy ways to do it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of conspiracy theories, let's start with the Pentagon. When it said new details on UFO encounters to be released to the public.
I go back and forth on this. I get real excited, and then I get disappointed, and I know probably that more than likely it's just some other country's tech.
Right.
But still, I'd love it. I so much want to believe that something else is going on.
Yeah.
Well, I spent half my life worrying about whether there's aliens or not.
Right.
But I feel like the what do you call it? The deep Pentagon or whatever has been conditioning me through Spielberg movies and stuff to believe in aliens to announce stuff like that. Oh, by the way, if you read this article, there's a word problem in the second paragraph. It lets you know when disclosure's coming, when the next round is, because it says a month ago they passed this law, and within 6 months they'll have to give more information or whatever. So that,
really?
So if you do the math on that, that's right around Christmas time.
Holy
crap. End of December would be 6 months from the end of...
I'm ready. Let's
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, like I said, 2020 has been so nuts. Most people would be like, if I've seen Alien, at this point, it's not going to faze me. It's just going to be like, oh, yeah, I kind of half expected that. But, yeah, you're right. I feel like they did condition us,
And they're running off a script, like they're trying to repeat shit from the 20th century is what it looks like to me. So World War will be like a world war against a fake alien invasion. Most people that are like that are balls deep into like conspiracy lore these days, they're like, I think they're gonna fake an invasion.
Like we saw this coming like 12 years ago.
But what's interesting is the purpose supposedly for the fake invasion is like Ronald Reagan in a speech saying that it would draw the whole world together.
Yeah.
Right, it would.
But I feel like they just went with COVID instead.
Yeah, look.
But now it looks like they're going to pull out. They're conditioning us.
Well, COVID ain't working.
Yeah.
But it's working to condition people. I mean, I think we'll be so broken by Christmas time that we'll be willing to
accept almost nearly anything.
But it's divided us though so much. Like you're right. An invasion would probably bring us together.
Right.
Well, okay, you're right. That now that I think of it, that is strange. At first, it seemed like they were pushing to unite the world or what. And
I would love it if.
Yeah, I'm kind of sick
New
way.
World order.
Yeah. Well, they're just kind of. It feels like they're just putting the cards on the table, and they're like, okay, that's not working. All right, that's not working. And it's like, well, we'll save this. In my head is how it feels, and the conspiracy theories I read were always lead up to alien invasion puts everybody at ease together, and now we're going to follow them.
It just sucks being so paranoid because whenever half my life I believed in Roswell, and then the Pentagon says it, and I'm like, nope. I'm not believing that.
The moment
shit.
authority says it, they're like, oh no. What do you think of the whole invasion on Roswell that was going down
in 47? Oh no, and the Area 51 thing.
Yeah, Area 51. Yeah.
I didn't think too much of it.
You're like, it's not going to happen. Well, I knew it was more of an internet joke than anything. And then watching the actual soldiers, like, well, okay, we're going to prep for it. I know it's not going to happen, but we're going to prep for it. And then they had people talking about Naruto runs. I was like, oh my God. I was like, the internet is so powerful,
It's crazy.
Okay, so they're seeing... from one perspective, like we were saying, New World Order, and then from like your perspective, they're heading for Civil War, probably, right? I mean, I see that too, but so that's weird. And like you said, they're throwing everything, throwing everything in there. So like, what about Oklahoma not being Oklahoma anymore in like one headline, and then silence?
Yeah, that was odd.
I felt like that was maybe gearing up to be a push for Civil War II,
right?
Like territoriality over the United States.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So are we in Cusco right now, or is it Oklahoma?
Right. Yeah. Which one?
That was so weird. I don't know. What the fuck was that about? What the hell?
Yeah. I was so brief for me. I was just like, what?
It's like now you're under Indian, or what was it? Which nation?
We would be in Cherokee reservation.
Yeah, like suddenly we're just under that, and I'm like, okay, and then it just went away.
Yeah,
never heard about it again.
Never heard about it. Well, I mean, did you hear anything more, or were they? Is it still like in processing, or?
No, I don't. I haven't heard shit about it since then.
They probably like okay.
Maybe that was just that one guy's stupid.
And I like stuff like that. I want to give back all stolen land. You know what I mean? Like, or in the past, I was all about stuff like that.
Right.
And then or in the past, I would have made like a logical argument that all cops are bad because they're all violent, and I'm a pacifist. So from my perspective, all cops would be bad. It looks like. So I've always done stuff like that, or pushed ideas like. We shouldn't have prisons and stuff like that. But then in the middle of all this chaos, and then hearing like whole mobs of people saying that, which I don't like mobs either. It's just like I don't even want to look outside the window. I don't even know how to feel about myself in the past.
Right, it's kind of flip flopping. You're like, man,
ultimately,
shit, I need a cop over here.
Ultimately, I am a pacifist. So, but it's just weird when with all this chaos outside.
Right.
got so freaked out by all those riot videos and stuff.
Oh God, man,
It's
you're
still-
telling me, dude.
Well, actually, it just finally stopped. I think, didn't it?
Well,
Sort of.
Portland,
It's
I think Portland's
winding
coming
down.
to
It's
an
winding down.
end because every time I'm like, okay, it's coming down, and they're like, no, week 57, you know?
Yeah, but I think they finally come to a ceasefire, is the way they put it.
How do
How
you
do you
let
get a
city?
ceasefire with peaceful protesters? Is that what you like? A ceasefire?
It's an
I don't know.
oxymoron, is what it is.
I don't know how they claim to be peaceful or mostly peaceful whenever their slogan is no peace.
Yeah, no peace, no justice, no peace until.
Oh, and by the way, since we're talking about that just for a second,
Yeah.
I just want to say that All Lives Matter is like the perfect dunk.
It is.
It's a little bit because it includes Black lives, includes all lives. It's basically my worldview. I just didn't
Right.
think of that as such a
You shoulda-
three-word phrase. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
you should have cornered that. You should have marketed that.
It's perfect. It includes fetuses. It includes everybody.
Right.
And then, yeah. So really, the Black Lives Matter people, they should just acknowledge that and just steal the slogan. Say, "You're right. All lives matter. All lives matter." And that should.
And
be
then,
their thing.
yeah, but
That
they
would-
wanted to keep, they're like, their argument is like, of course all lives matter, but Black Lives Matter right now.
Yeah,
I was like,
it's
what
weak.
the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But All Lives Matter is such a great dunk that they have to admit the truth.
Right. Did you ever looked up their website and what they believe in, and do you ever see their talking points on there?
I've heard about it. It's communist, right? Like, I read this book a long time ago that I know other people regard as like the greatest conspiracy theory book called The Unseen Hand.
Okay.
And in that book, it's sort of like a people's history of the United States, but instead it's like a conspiratorial view of the United States. So
Okay.
or of world events, really. So like the idea is that every revolution is controlled. Every event is scripted. Every war is, controlled. Both sides are controlled by the same people, by the
Right.
unseen hand of history.
Wow.
So that kind of had me convinced that, whenever I see stuff going on and it's so inconsistent and fake looking,
Right.
whenever you look close at it,
Yeah.
I'm like, that book is right, man. But all books look right now. Like every prophetic science fiction writer, every one of their books seem to be happening at the same time, including
Really?
the Book of
Orwell?
Revelations. That's what it looks like,
Wow. I mean, well, George Orwell, I don't know what that guy was
I
on,
keep
but
thinking of Orwell. I keep
man,
thinking
he's
about
just
George
like,
Orwell.
this dude was a fucking
1984.
psychic or something, or he just knows, he was a trendsetter, or not a trendsetter, but like a trending person, and it's just like, I can see where this is falling, where the dominoes are going with this. And man, his book has almost become reality.
I think he just, and he knew his history well. He just had a real intuitive sense of how people act as a group
Right.
and stuff. Like,
And he probably had more insight on technology or, what's to come and shit. And he's like, oh, man, I see this coming from a mile away.
Well, it makes me wonder, since our own current events, when you like shed light on them, they look so fake, or there's so many inconsistencies that at least half of the event is not real, or the statistics or whatever. It makes me wonder if back then, other people that were so awake could see, like if they were just as fake, like if
Right.
that book was right, if people saw it, like Orwell, he
Yeah.
wrote the book in 48 or something
Yeah,
like that. So it's not too hard to imagine that he wasn't just describing his own time or World War II or something.
Oh, shit. Whatever happened to chemtrails? We're done with that. It's over. Is that a thing still, or because I always look up nowadays and I'm just like, I'm like, if they're spreading, I've got it. I'm dead either way.
Yeah.
What do you? I mean, are you still like kind of big on that, or?
I appreciate people that are, but I'm not. That wasn't really my focus too much.
Okay.
what was your big focus back then?
Well, in 2012, I was really freaked out by President Obama signing all of this
The
crazy
NDA
stuff that
and-
murdered the Magna Carta and gave the American military the right to rendition anyone in the world
Yeah.
at will and without a trial. And he also signed the Nuclear Preparedness Act, which they sign every year, but it gives the president the power to take over everything.
Really?
like
Okay.
industry, farming. They can take over pretty much.
Yeah. Right.
But it used to be in case if nuclear war had to be the requisite.
Right.
And Obama, whenever he signed it in 2012, they had changed it to where he needed no requisite. The president at will can pretty much take over.
Wow.
Which I think
Is
presidents.
that still going? Like that's still a?
I think presidents are more controlled than that.
Well, yeah.
And my paranoid mind thinks that they're like murdered and replaced.
I like that idea. It's so. What was it? You said he was like they're taken down to the logic basement or whatever, and they put a gun in their mouth, and they're like, it's our way or the highway.
Yeah, only I think.
Man, that makes. I think it's a little more sense than anything, really. It just sounded like, no, you made it. Congratulations, but...
Yeah, but at this point, my paranoia is so strong, I think they go ahead and pull the trigger and just pull out the body double. That they completely control it, you know?
Okay, I need a couple hits. I'm sorry.
I love it. No, it's good. I like... Because, what was it, Bill Clinton's interview, when you saw that, he was just kind of like, almost like a mannequin, he was just put on sleep mode and they're doing his
interview?
makeup. It's a really old one.
He looks like he drank from the wrong grail.
Right.
But I think, they look very corpse-like. Like Biden, how everybody teases him and says he's a corpse.
But
I think
gotta-
maybe like reanimated.
Which interview though? Which interview are you talking about?
It was like a pre-interview, and it was when the tapes used to roll, and they just kept
like
it rolling.
Before or after? Okay.
Right, it was like back in I think 80s, maybe early 90s. They would just roll, and then you could see Clinton just sitting there, and he's just kind of like the lights are off,
Oh wait, I have heard of that. Yeah, maybe you showed me that.
Right, and then once it's go time, they're just kind of like, hey, Bill Clinton here, here to talk to good people. Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. So what would you think about, where do you think Trump stands at this point in time? Like, do you feel like he's more controlled if we go along with those lines, or do you think he's actually kind of an independent?
I like Trump's charisma. I would, like I said before, I would never vote for a president.
Right.
Morally, but I think he's hilarious.
Yeah.
I think everybody should be able to agree on
At least
that.
there's that. Yeah.
Even his body double who took over for him is funny, But I don't think he looks like he's in control. I think I see him making some moves that look like he's trying to take control, but when he was at his most out of control, or under control by other people, by Fauci, or is that dude's name?
Fauci.
That little chicken little...
Yeah, God, dude, the sky's falling.
Yeah, but I think he had... it was the day whenever Trump called the Secretary of State the Secretary of the Deep State.
Ooh, right? You were like... I bet you were like, whoa, hey, hold on. Is this real?
I've got to respect stuff like that. And Mike Pompeo, he said he called it a live exercise. Did you see that clip? He said this is a live exercise. Well, you know what a live exercise is? A drill.
Right.
That intermingles
You
with
think
reality.
he said the deep state thing on purpose? Recognizing?
It was like within the same minute that Pompeo said that it was
just a live exercise.
Wow, that's crazy.
Wow.
So that
I don't
moment,
even remember that.
that moment there, along with everything else that looks like BS about this thing, makes it look like a drill to me.
Wow. Right.
How do you guys feel? Feel like it's a drill or something?
Well, I don't know I feel bad, but once... Okay, so after Obama, just Hillary and Clinton were up for bat.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know, it felt like something turned off. Like I had been so shut down by, all the conspiracies and stuff. And I was like, well, I'm not going to vote for either one of these assholes.
Right.
And then I watched Trump, and I was like, holy shit. I was like, man, it's kind of like an underdog thing. You never would have thought it was going to happen. And then just kept watching him. I was like, okay, all right, well, he's keeping that promise. Well, he kept that one. And then in the back of my head, I will admit this, in the back of my head, I was like, maybe that's what they want. They want the people to be like, wow, we finally got somebody on our side. And then once he gets elected again, that's when things will change. You know what I mean?
I feel like it's so dangerous to think like that, though, all the time.
Well, that's, like I said, it's in the back of my head. I just want to be prepared or be aware and just be like, fuck, man, shit. I'd love, believe me, trust. I'd love and believe in the system, even though I know it's flawed, it's got some of the biggest flaws. I was just like, I still, in my heart, want to believe that there's people out there, good people out there, that want to see our country do good. We want other countries to succeed too.
He looks like the chosen one, like he's
the chosen one.
He's a hope.
Do you think what do you think about the idea that that people didn't want him in, and him getting elected upset things?
Intentionally.
Do you think that's true? Do you think that he was Yeah, like it screwed things up because he shouldn't have won. In other words, like people in power didn't expect him to win. Do you think that's true, or do you
yeah, I think they were. I think Hillary was going to be selected to be president by whoever. I think that Trump probably actually, I'm sure they really do count the votes secretly. You know, regardless of what they tell us the votes are, and I'm sure Trump would have won on popularity. But I feel like Hillary Clinton died on September 11, 2016, whenever they tossed her into that bus at the anniversary.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, she was.
They toss her in and they pull out the body double, like literally, like 1 hour later, some Clinton lookalike came out like, "I'm fine, everybody." An imperfect one, like if you look at the pictures, that one has like a rounder nose or whatever. But
Right. Well, that's like the Epstein picture, you know, with the ears and like.
So I feel like they can make the deep state or the CIA. I think the CIA runs the show, but I think that they just are like Trump will do or whatever. You know, I think that Clinton died or whatever. I mean, she's wasn't going to work out, and it's weird that they're repeating the script with Biden because he looks like Weekend at Bernie's for real.
Dude, yeah. I can't imagine being like, man, you're listening to this guy, watching him, and you're like, this is exactly who I want running my country.
It's crazy. I know. I don't know how you could think that. It's obvious he has some kind of mental decline. Something's happening.
I don't think he'll make it till November. Like, I think that or if he does get in, I think whoever is his VP, they'll just declare him, inapt. And
didn't he say the latest one was like, didn't he think he was someplace he worked at 20 fucking years ago?
Yeah, a cafe that didn't exist anymore.
Well, I don't know. Today, it looked like, I don't know if this is a quote from today, but Trump was floating the idea of
holding off
suspending the election.
Oh, man. Twitter went nuts.
But
if they don't do it already.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're good.
This seems to be like to script, too, because I watched something on Alex Jones the other day, and it was a clip. He really does his homework. If he's reading about gay frogs, he's reading off of an official news article and stuff. He didn't make it up.
Right.
But, he's got this clip of Pelosi saying that she's had meetings with continuity of government. That means FEMA, who's laying low right now, which is strange. You don't hear too much about them. And they're the ones with the
helmet, all those
pandemic caskets. Yeah. But she said she's had meetings about if Trump doesn't concede the election, that they'll remove him from office.
Holy shit.
Dude, there are so many people that think that that's going to happen. It's so fucking dumb. They really think that if he isn't elected, he's going to
never want to leave.
Yeah, and he's going to get tanks and shit. It's so crazy.
Border off the White House. It's my house now.
Oh, hey, that brings me back to what I texted you.
Oh.
So it turns out that actually in the past, I can't remember, and I should look this up on my own. I don't like people taking people's word for it, but Tim Pool was talking about it.
Okay.
He said in the past 30, 40 years, every election that hasn't gone down the Democrats' way, they've contested. They've said it was somehow false, somehow.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
I have to go back
this has been going on. This is probably one of the worst instances. But
yeah.
Apparently there have been sore losers for decades.
Well,
okay.
Hillary still hasn't conceded the election. You know
oh
what
my
I mean?
God.
She's like, I should have won.
Jesus,
you guys know that.
But to plan a coup d'etat behind his back, shouldn't she be? And then to just blatantly say that, shouldn't she be under some kind of investigation? Or
she's going to court, right? She's Hillary. Yeah, she's going to court, and then the whole Obamagate thing is. I feel that that's the huge distraction for 2020 is to just kind of mop it all up on the floor, ignore Obamagate, because if it's true, which all facts are pointing to, is that they spied on the Trump campaign, and now all this shit's coming out.
Yeah.
With Weiner, all those assholes, man. It's just, I was like, man, I just want to see somebody high up go to jail. I went to jail for less, way less. I mean, can we?
For what's legal now.
Yeah. Can we get one asshole in a fucking suit to go to jail? I mean, shit. I don't care if he gets 6 months. At least I know he's been in there.
Right. Something that isn't sexual misconduct for once.
Oh my God! The Epstein that whole ordeal. I was like, I don't care if they're associated. Just shoot him in the back of the head. I was like, child porn. I was like, all that child trafficking stuff. I was like, it's just that really eats me up inside. I can't imagine the sick bastards that are just roaming around here.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I've been so consumed with masking and anti-masking, thinking about that, and getting upset from my side of it that I forgot about that Wayfair thing that happened only like
Yeah.
a few days ago. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
Ellen was taken down with it. I don't know if she was taken down.
What is that?
What's the Wayfair? I know what it is. I don't know how
I
to
didn't know
explain
what it was. I thought Wayfair was kind of glasses, but I guess it's a place where you can order
Underage
desks and stuff. Oh yeah, yeah. I was gonna say you can order furniture, but what they're like got busted for was like trafficking
children.
lost children.
What was this?
Yeah.
When did this happen?
2 or 3 weeks ago.
What is Wayfair? A company? That's a company?
Yeah. So at their website, let me think about this for a second. You could find like an item that like they said there was only one of, even though it matched the pictures of other ones that were just like that, and it had like a girl's name, and they were like unique names too. And coincidentally, if you looked up like missing children, they had the same names as these things. And like their SKU numbers, if you put their SKU numbers into one of those like DuckDuckGo, something not Google, like some other kind of web browser, you put in the SKU number for what they were selling for like $10,000 or whatever, it would pull up images of little girls.
This sounds like something I'm gonna have to probably like
Dig into.
Yeah.
It's a fucked up case, and I was just like, oh boy. And yeah, Ellen was mentioned in it. They were
Like,
dragging
what
her name through it.
capacity? Like-
Like she was ordering it, and
Oh, really? I
yeah,
didn't know
her.
about this.
I think it was her staff as well. I was like, ooh, oh, it's not a good look, kid. Yeah, you're right. It's like claim
Now,
excess expenses cabinet is
I
priced.
get a lot of my news
fronts.
from memes. Have you heard that Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's girlfriend or whatever, is the madam, his pimp or whatever?
Right.
Have you heard that she owned a submarine company?
Really?
And that
I've
she
never.
actually owns Epstein Island, which used to be a naval submarine base.
Holy
And
shit.
the island, it said all this in one meme, and I have no idea. Like, I haven't heard this anywhere else, so I wondered if you guys know. But the island next door also was a naval submarine base, and that's where she parks her submarine.
What the
Because
fuck?
she's licensed to
Operate.
pilot or whatever a submarine.
What?
Or
Wow.
the captain of a submarine. And the island next door where she parks her submarine is owned by Joe Biden. That's what this meme said. I have no idea.
Oh wow, that'd be.
Yeah, there's something about her. I think her father, where a lot of this money came from, and nobody knows where his fortune. I don't think there's some mysterious. There's all kinds of like about where these people's money came from.
They say it's from blackmailing people, right?
Well, that's the idea, is that it could be
Right.
And people are sort of wondering about the whole, like, was there any sort of like did the government or the Israeli government, whichever government's behind the construct that is Jeffrey Epstein, if he is a construct,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
like
I think he's a construct.
like did they know that he was doing the pedo shit? Was that like sanctioned, or was he a pedo? They didn't realize it. And,
Right.
Well,
You know.
before Epstein was known or whatever, for a long time they've been saying that, that's how they control the politicians and stuff. They get them to do pedo stuff, and they have it on film, and they blackmail them to.
and he was just a teacher. How did he get to this place of power? How did he?
Yeah.
He
How
was
did
a
he-
fucking math teacher, and
Wow.
suddenly he has a fortune, and he's jet setting, and he's.
Right. Yeah.
going
One of the
on?
most
Like,
profiled
I love that
criminals.
story. That's so fascinating.
See, that reminds me of the Clintons because
Yeah.
they always get away with everything and get away with killing people and stuff. But to me, it looks like they're backed by something like an intelligence agency or backed
Of
by the
course.
NSA or
Well-
something. Otherwise,
Well, if you got to think of those in power, like I was talking about, I was like, it just kind of goes down the chain. You know, you got your high-profile security. I was like, there's obviously cops being paid off.
Yeah.
You know, and then it just kind of just trickles down from there. It's like you just don't know where it stops, whose pockets in whose, or whose hands in whose pocket, and
right,
it's like that's why it's so fucking hard to get these ticks out of America. You know, out of our
Yeah.
country. It's just
because the mafia controls the local police. The FBI controls the mafia. Who knows?
The CIA controls the FBI.
Yeah, but then the Skull and Bones control the CIA. Sorry.
I know you need a graph.
I'm sure there's one out there. If you look. I'm
No,
sure
no, I
someone's made it.
probably Google one right now, but and then at the top it's like the Cthulhu.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, you're right. You're right. 'Cause they're controlled by otherworldly demons.
Right, yeah, no, Alex Jones was right all along.
Yeah, he was.
No, I love that shit. And I think one of the best memes of 2019 was the once Epstein was killed, was not only the sword one, where everyone's agreement, like no, he didn't kill himself.
Right.
Although it was the one where it was like Epstein kills himself, and it was like everybody, and it's like Alex Jones is popping out of every every nook and cranny. It's like everyone's a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, everybody agreed on that. That was the true New World Order. That was what everyone agreed on. Epstein did not kill himself.
Yeah, I was just it's
Everybody knew it was going to happen, too.
yeah, and everyone's calling this one out, and they're like, dude, it's been called out so far ahead that if she dies now for some oddly reason, I was like, that's when people should take to the streets.
Dude,
yeah. That's worth marching over. I was like, no, we need to get to the bottom of this. I was like, now all lives matter, right?
That would hopefully unite us, I would think.
I would
Probably.
hope so.
Oh,
Not totally.
should we talk about that frazzle drip thing or no? It's real disgusting.
There's nothing off limits, right? I mean,
No,
really.
hell no. Go ahead. Start it off. Now explain to me exactly. Frazzle? Shit.
Basically, there's some Clinton emails that were missing for a real long time. They said they found them on this guy's laptop, Anthony Weiner. I don't remember. I don't know if you guys remember when he got arrested.
I know, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, his wife has like a strange name or something, Abu Deen or something like that.
Yeah.
She's
She's real pretty, or she was.
yeah. They found a video on his laptop. This is the lore. Okay, this is the
official lore.
Yeah, the folklore. The conspiracy lore is that the NYPD took his laptop and they saw a video on his laptop in her emails that was of her and Anthony Weiner's wife with a strange name murdering a little girl, like raping a little girl who was tied to it. Do you guys want to know the details? Because this guy...
Maybe,
I'm
I
like,
guess.
yeah, go ahead. No.
This thing that I
I mean, I was going to say, I don't know. I guess it's up to you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I won't talk. I didn't hear the details of the rape of the little girl.
Okay.
I heard the details of the murder of the little girl that's on the tape. And so somebody who had seen the tape describes what he saw on the tape. Now, like a couple weeks ago, people were saying that tape was censored. It was called Frazzle Drip, and they were putting it on. People were sharing it on Facebook and stuff. I didn't see it, but supposedly it had part of the video on it. My friend said he saw it. I don't know. But this guy, I watched a YouTube video of this guy describing what he saw on the video. He was supposed to be one of those cops, right? And he said that Hillary Clinton and that lady were naked, and there was some kind of big pentagram drawn on the ground.
Holy
and
shit.
There was a little girl tied to a tree who was naked, and who they, what did they do? They cut her face off. And then they were running around naked wearing her face.
Jesus.
And
What?
the little girl was terrified, and she was begging him to be killed. And then Hillary Clinton, like, stabbed her, like, drew a Z on her torso, like Zorro, with a knife, with some kind of dagger or
Wow.
something, and pulled her intestines out while the little girl was still alive, and then took some kind of sharp forceps or something like that, some kind of surgical thing, and shoved it up her nose.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she doesn't have a face.
Yeah.
And, and pulled out part of her brain that they were calling a walnut, and the Hillary Clinton
Wow.
ate part of it and gave it to the other lady,
What the fuck?
and she ate the other part of it.
Jesus Christ.
So,
And the lore is also that 9 of the 12 cops that saw that are dead now, and they killed themselves.
holy shit. Now that is a fucking story, dude. Oh my god.
No, that's nasty.
I was like, I want to see that. No, I mean, I want to see it if it's true. I don't beg to see any kind of thing like that. I was like, but if there's something out there like that, jeez, God bless America. Oh.
I got just so I'm not disingenuous. I don't believe it at all. But I mean, no offense, but that is fucked up. Like if that were true, that's
Up front,
fucked
we're
up.
calling this a conspiracy theory. And as we break down these
What?
claims, I want you to notice
Who's talking?
this whole theory depends on sharing
Did you guys hear that?
information.
Yeah, is that not? I thought you played a video.
No, I'm fucking.
New claims.
Suddenly we're just
Let's
watching
start
news.
with the basics. This all went viral after
Oh.
Reddit.com.
Oh, what?
Quote,
Yeah,
is
oh,
He started talking about separating
Wayfair.
fact, fiction, and viral
I'm
claims
gonna
about
look that up too,
Wayfair.
though, when I get home. Look
See,
at
this-
Wayfair and Frazzle Drip.
There's just one other thing. There's this other person who used to make similar claims named Kathy O'Brien, who claimed to be a little kid who was, since she was a little kid, she was like trained as a child prostitute.
Okay.
And she claims that she was raped by Hillary Clinton, and that Hillary Clinton carved into her, like mutilated her genitalia.
Oh my
With
gosh.
like a X-Acto knife to look like a devil's face or something. And this lady's grown. She's like 50 or whatever.
Right.
But supposedly she's been raped by like a lot of presidents and stuff like that. And her book is unbelievable, you know, because she seems like Forrest Gump. But also it's like a mind trip because it's like, why am I just denying this just because it's presidents? Of course they're into sick shit. Like it's possible, you know, like the Epstein thing. There was a girl who like that Netflix documentary was convincing that girl had been boned by the English guy. What's his name?
Yeah,
Prince Edward.
Prince Edward.
Yeah, and so that girl was sort of a Kathy O'Brien like figure, you know. And then, but Kathy O'Brien, like, there's a video online where she shows off her private area, and you see that, and it is definitely
toasted.
That doesn't prove that Hillary Clinton did it, but she proves that her genitalia
Stuff was mutilated.
to look like a face. It looks like Dick Cheney.
Oh no! Anything but that. Jeez! Oh my gosh!
Who she says he has a big old hog.
Cheney, I can imagine that. This is why he won't die. He's like, I still want to use it. Well, that brings into mind. I mean, almost kind of off subject. But it brings into mind the lady that claimed that Trump raped her, and she still had semen on her dress.
Oh yeah, Monica.
And then when they finally interviewed her, she was like, "Oh no, I like it. Women like to be raped." You know, she's like, "I thought it was enjoyable."
What?
Yeah, and the people were like, "What? Wait, I mean, wasn't it terrible?" And you're like, "Oh no, I enjoyed it. It was awesome."
Did you see that painting? I think I've seen that painting.
Yeah,
Bill
we
Clinton?
talked about that. Yeah, what the fuck?
Dude, explain that. Explain yourself out of that. I need to understand now. Either somebody is just way too obsessed with Bill Clinton, or somebody drew that while he was in that fucking dress.
Or, I don't know. In my mind, he
You
did
could
wear
see
that
him do
fucking
it.
thing, and like they hang that up just to humiliate his ass every time he came over to the island.
Right.
Just to know, like, we're in power, Bill.
Right, yeah, we got your ass. And he's like, "Oh man, it's a good time right there."
You guys are hilarious.
And what's sick is like, if they say, let's just say he came out with that, he's like, "Oh, they painted this picture of me," you know, and if he would have came out there, it'd be like, "Oh, that's just Bill," you know, he likes to get his dick sucked in the Oval Office and, you know, bang chicks and play saxophone and smoke weed. But, you know, it's just like when it comes out, when we were like put it in the forefront, it's just like, oh fuck, and I was like, something's wrong with this guy, you know.
Yeah, this is gonna be. I don't know if I'm gonna look it all up tonight, but that's gonna be a horrible rabbit hole. I'm gonna look at Wayfair, Frazzle Drip. It's gonna be a bad night.
You'll be on a watch list pretty sure by the end of it.
Don't look up any of that.
I have to at least read about it.
But they're saying
Don't
here,
look up Pizzagate either.
I know Pizzagate.
well, look, it's saying no evidence in horrific Clinton. I don't know much about factcheck.org. But it's just saying no evidence. Question did video of Hillary Clinton and
I have a feeling though that somebody who believes in conspiracy theories as much as you do isn't gonna put any sort of. You're not gonna care what this says.
right. Well,
that's not gonna sway you either way.
right. Well, I don't. Like I said, I don't know who these assholes are. This is probably literally the first time I've ever clicked on their.
Well, you gotta, you know, the thing about it is, it's like that meme I saw. It's just something I heard. You know?
Right,
it's not
right,
something
right.
I have a hard belief in, or whatever,
Right.
But I'm open to the idea of it.
Right. Well, because you can. I mean, we know these people. I mean, you know their history. At least Hillary's in general. I mean, with Haiti. When she first became a lawyer and stuck up for the rapist, you know what I mean? And when she was caught on tape saying all that horrible shit, you know, about the girl that was raped.
Well, the Pizzagate emails, they're really strange. You know,
Right.
They're
Her deleting the
talking
emails. I was like, you're not a good person, first of all. I was like, so I don't
What'd
have
she
a hard
say?
time
What'd she say?
about the little girl. And she
Or
was
whatever.
oh, she was like, oh, she's innocent, you know. She's like, I know she didn't do it, you know. She was like, but that's not my job, you know. She's like, I'm gonna prove this guy didn't do it, you know what I mean? And like
What? Talk about who?
the guy, this male, obviously was had raped this woman, and that was one of her first cases. And in the thing they brought it up and has her on tape, you know, saying, you know, she's just laughing about it. She was like, I know she's innocent. And she's like, well, this is my job, you know, I'm not gonna let him go down.
There's a scene like that in The Devil's Advocate, right? He
Right.
defends somebody. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, that's the way you move up. That's like you kick down, you know, the lesser or whatever, you know, or some of the most heinous or whatever, and then you get booted up.
oh, you know why I'm also more open to that Frazzle Drip lore and stuff? Because like her emails that were about Pizzagate were so strange.
What did she say about it?
Well,
Oh, okay.
It's not necessarily her emails, but like her campaign manager seems to be a cannibal and is inviting this known witch.
Oh, that
Marina
what's
That-
what's
oh
that
my
guy's-
God.
That guy, what's that guy's name? We talked about him.
Podesta.
Podesta.
And she brings like he's like inviting this witch to come cook a child for him and stuff. And
Right. I was like,
you
that's a little too on the nose.
there's
you know?
some of them. Some of those emails are literally talking about little kids coming over to party at 12 at
Right.
the pool, and other ones are talking about. Well, they're speaking strangely in code about food all the time that costs a whole lot of money and like
Yeah, that's not. I mean, it's odd. That's to
It's
strike a
coded.
chord with something. Yeah.
who knows what they're talking about. But some people claim that they're talking about known like pedophile code or something. You know, like
What's the witch part you're talking about? What is that?
there's this old performance
spirit
artist
cooking?
called Marina Abramovich or whatever. She's the one who's in
I
that.
know her. I know her. I've heard of her.
Yeah, because she was in that commercial that they pulled because everybody was making fun of Bill Gates. That Microsoft commercial. She was
Yeah.
like, narrating it and
They're
stuff.
like, oh yeah, good putting a spirit cooker on there.
I remember that.
People shit
Okay.
on that shit.
So the email to her is like, "Come over to do your spirit cooking for me at 7 or whatever."
What the fuck is spirit cooking?
Spirit cooking was it's like a recipe written by Aleister Crowley.
Aleister Crowley.
Is that his name? Yeah,
Or
Barbara-
Crowley, whatever.
Barbara Bush's dad.
It's a recipe. It's a recipe written by Aleister Crowley.
Yeah.
Yeah, for like cooking children or whatever.
Yeah.
But her version of it is like cooking menstrual blood and semen, you know, the ingredients for a child and eating it publicly and
Oh,
stuff like
wow.
that. But was she talking about that? Or was she talking about cooking a
Right.
child for the dude? Because he has a whole lot of cannibal artwork.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were
Cannibalizing
talking.
children.
See, I thought
artwork.
he was talking about the guy that tasted brain or whatever. The guy that.
Oh, that
reporter
that
journalist
reporter.
or whatever.
Now he's fucked up for some reason.
Yeah.
Goddamn thing.
Well, they said, remember during the last election, Hillary Clinton was like reacting to balloons flying by like she'd never seen them before.
Oh, that stupid gift.
And there were strange pictures of her tongue with like this huge hole in it, and people were saying that's a symptom of Kuru disease, which people get from like eating
Brain.
children. Yeah, eating brains, eating human brains. Yeah, that's it.
This. Hey, it's locked, Bubba. Mama's on her way back, okay?
Such a horrible dad.
I know. I want to be famous, Miles. Go away.
Dad's gonna be famous.
Oh, poor
Where did
Bubba.
she go? Or where did she go?
She went to Walmart to meet somebody to sell something and then to go pick up Cece. I was like, you had to do that now? It's like,
Right,
I've,
like
I've
right
been at
now.
work since 2 o'clock. I mean, come on. Oh.
No, I mean, I
here.
don't believe that she's a cannibal. I was just kidding.
Or am I?
Yeah.
No, I mean, man, there's so many fucking good ones. I mean, I can't even think about half the ones we used to talk about.
That
one-
what just happened there? That's one of the problems though with conspiracy theories. When somebody's not versed in them, you just keep like, well, what's spirit cooking? Well, wait a minute, but then Crowley did, and then you get
it's a
deeper
rabbit hole.
and deeper and deeper, and then you forget the first thing you were fucking talking about.
I know. Then all of a sudden you've got a cookbook and you got a witchcraft book. You're like, fucking shit. I was like, oh man. No, I remember one of the stories you told me, and it's not even a conspiracy, was the tale of the white buffalo. You remember that? And I think you remember you were telling me how like the Indians had predicted that the white buffalo will be born and it's a sign of peace,
Oh yeah.
and that somebody had went out and killed it.
Oh yeah. Okay, I do remember now.
And
Yeah.
was that in Oklahoma, or?
Man, I have.
It's like,
to tell the truth.
so I was like, well, it was one of the stories that stuck with me, and I was just like, man,
I do remember when that happened. Now that you mention it.
yeah, I was like, man, how fucked up is that? You know what I mean? I was just like, it's just in humans in general. I was like, of course, they probably never heard of it. You know what I mean? I was like, but it's just some great stories, you know, that are just kind of lost to time. And
Yeah, you're right.
give me 1 second, guys. You guys keep talking. I'm going to strangle somebody.
Don't go crazy. They're not that loud.
Just curious, since I just met you, so you're not really a conspiracy guy. I
No,
guess, huh?
no. But I mean, I'm cool. I mean, I'm just like, you know, I'm all good with whatever. I'm trying to write down some of this stuff so I can look it up later.
So, one thing I've been thinking about this lately.
Uh huh.
For some people who would like maybe ridicule conspiracy theorists or say there are no conspiracy. Not that that's you, but just something I'm thinking about lately. To like name a conspiracy that probably is an acknowledged one would be like the Manhattan Project. You know, like a secret town where they secretly brought all these scientists to work on a doomsday device and stuff.
Yeah.
And the idea for that was created at the Bohemian Grove.
Okay.
So there's a second layer to it, you know. And the Bohemian Grove, that's just like a rabbit hole of conspiracy.
Yeah, I know
lore
a little.
itself.
I know a little bit about it, but not a lot. I've seen the video Alex Jones filmed.
Yeah.
When he.
That's why he has tenure with me. No matter what he does, no matter how ridiculous or
I can't
whatever.
imagine how high that put him in the echelons of conspiracy theorists. Whenever he infiltrated Bohemian Grove, that must have been like. That must have been a moment. That must have been a crazy moment. Yeah, I don't ridicule either. I just like, I don't know. I'm just really skeptical, and I believe in Carl Sagan's theory of keep an open mind, but not so open that your brain falls out.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just very skeptical, but I also understand that, dude, weird shit happens, and like I'm an agnostic, so unfortunately, I'm the milquetoast fence sitter, to put it like Tim Pool puts it.
It's like, this is what it's like. You chase conspiracy theories long enough, just kind of being intrigued by them.
Yeah.
And then one of them is like, you're absolutely convinced. Like the evidence is like, okay, this one happened. And then that opens up another gate. So you're like, okay, so where are the other ones that you know for sure happened? Or, you know, you start looking for them. And then you start finding them. There's more and more. I mean, even if you just look at like everything that the CIA has admitted to doing, which is batshit crazy conspiracy stuff.
Well, that's one of the reasons I love Epstein, because I was watching this video by this guy named Eric Weinstein, who's he's been on the Rogan podcast a few times, and he has that video about Epstein, about meeting Epstein, and he's talking about he likes to do what he calls responsible conspiracy theorizing, and one of those things is to take a look at the past and see, well, what's been done before? What can we prove has been done before? And we know that somebody has been set up as like a playboy to infiltrate a government. That was Eli Cohen, the Syrian government. He was the spy, the Israeli spy. Okay. So if they've done it with him, they could do it with Epstein. Right. So that makes me believe even more that Epstein has something more to. There's something there, you know. It's just, I just love that story.
Well, they kind of need I guess it would almost be like every state needs their honeypot, you know, their honeypotter, you know.
Hey, I heard you guys say something on that podcast of yours that I listened to earlier about MLK being a slut or whatever, you know?
Oh, right.
That's hilarious. Or that's not hilarious, but that's funny you bring that up, because I was going to ask you. I wasn't even sure what point you were trying to make.
Okay. Oh, when I was talking about how people are soon going to be like, oh, well, MLK, you know.
Oh,
okay.
That's what you were saying? That they were going to try to, like, bash his character?
They were saying there's going to be tapes coming out in the next 8 years.
It takes them that long, 50 years to produce a tape.
That's what's scaring me, is that they have the tapes, but they can't release them for a certain amount of time. But it's supposedly him helping his friend rape women.
Yeah. Okay, so
the
FBI has been planning stories about that since MLK was alive, since before they killed him.
Right.
Or since before the military killed him. So
yeah, they've been trying to
make him
discredit him.
Discredit him,
But here's the thing, he was surveilled constantly.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And in all of this time, they've never, you know...
Right, but they would have pulled it out immediately, I would think.
And the only tape they do have that was definitely from the FBI has been demonstrated in court like 16 different times to be an obvious fake. Like spliced together phone conversations. Wow. You know how they take words and splice them together to make it seem like he's having phone sex with somebody. But the claim, which I believe is just propaganda to destroy his character or whatever, it gets pretty dark. That he raped prostitutes, that he took part in gay orgies.
Oh, wow.
And, so it's not just that he was a slut. Like, they're claiming, like, really gross stuff.
Really, grotesque.
That he beat women. You know, I just don't see a pacifist beating or raping prostitutes.
I was like, do you think that dude, that does that, he's just coming up with all these brilliant, you know, speeches and he's pulling people together.
Not saying it is impossible, but I doubt it. I highly doubt it. And I thought you were talking about, I just thought you were talking about his womanizing, which he did do.
Right.
I thought that's what you meant. And I was like, well, who cares? You know, big deal.
Not everyone's perfect, but
I would posit that they've never provided any evidence that he even did that.
Right.
You know? Like,
What was it? The thing
find
about
his
court that
wife
they
talking
proved in
about it.
court that he was murdered by the what was it, the CIA or the?
Yeah, that's actually what woke me up was that because one of his kids, MLK, came to speak at OSU when I was there, like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And yeah, 20 years ago. It was in
Damn.
2000, and the court case had happened in 1999, and I hadn't heard about it because it wasn't on the news.
Of course not.
Right? And he was there, and I was like, "Hey, I heard your family was trying to get James Earl Ray a trial before he died." And he was like, "Well, we took someone to court, like a civil case, for being part of the conspiracy." And he's like, "We'll put the transcripts online," and they did. They're at thekingcenter.org. You can read the trial
Wow.
I read the conclusion, like the closing argument. So I heard like the case that they made, the King family, and then there are clues in there what other things you should read: expert testimony on government abuse of the media and direct control over like all news.
Yeah.
Like these are things that the CIA has admitted to in court in the 70s during the church hearings and stuff, like after Nixon was outed. So at a certain point in time, if you can believe anything the CIA says,
Right.
they've admitted in the past to controlling all world news media.
Yeah,
And naming organizations that shut down like the next day. Like 800 of them. So,
What was the civil case? Who did they take to court or whatever?
okay, so to set the scene, MLK, he was murdered while smoking a cigarette on a balcony, shot in the mouth. That's pretty like a mafia message there, right?
Right.
And they say
A little too on the nose.
They say that this police officer named Earl Clark took the shot at him from behind the bushes on a lower level, behind a hamburger joint.
This is what his family say?
Yeah, owned by Lloyd Jowers. That's who they took to court, the owner of the hamburger shop, who above his shop is where James Earl Ray was staying in his room, which the official story is that James Earl Ray shot him from above the hamburger shop.
Okay.
Okay, so Lloyd Jowers has admitted to a bunch of people, and someone who worked in the shop, who was his lover, saw him. Basically, he let his hamburger shop be used to plan the shooting of MLK, and he held the rifle there in his shop, like in the oven or something, and he handed it to the cop outside, and then after the cop did the killing, he handed it back to him, and then he tossed it in the Arkansas River or something. So that was his small part in it, but it's a much bigger conspiracy. Like the story they laid out is much bigger and had evidence of like an army team, that trained on killing him. They trained on killing him in the parking lot, like in a moving vehicle. So essentially, like they had a special operations group. It's a big conspiracy.
Yeah.
It included like basically their theory was that the FBI using the mafia to control this cop or whatever.
Yeah. Just trickle down.
that they let that guy have the first shot.
Okay.
Which would have created a panic.
Right.
Which would have given the arm, if he didn't hit him. He did hit him.
Yeah.
But if he didn't hit him, it would have created a panic.
And they wouldn't know where it came from, basically.
And then the snipers or whatever were good to go to murder him. So he was going to be murdered one way or the other. And it was like a conspiracy with like multiple shooters. But this one got to go first or whatever.
Wow.
So that was their story.
Okay. I haven't. Wow, that's crazy.
Right?
You know why you haven't heard of it? It should have been the trial of the century, bigger than OJ, right?
Yeah.
Should have been on TV.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. It was locally in Memphis, but on the day whenever they got the verdict and a jury found that the government was, it wasn't just that they found the guy guilty because the story had to do with the bigger conspiracy. They found the Memphis Police Department and the government guilty of conspiring to kill
Wow.
MLK.
Damn.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and
Have to
whenever you
definitely look
read,
that up.
and I read like the expert testimony on that kind of stuff, and it just blew my mind because like, here's a real one, here's the real one.
Yeah.
I had spent a lot of time on that speculating about JFK or whatever,
Right, yeah, I'm done with the grassy knoll.
Like, fuck that.
and then in this trial, they had so they found a bundle with like a like a duffel bag that had like the gun broken down in it that they said was used to kill MLK. Not the one that I said was thrown in the Arkansas River,
Right.
but the one, and it also had like some beer cans with James Earl Ray's fingerprints on it and
Fingerprints on
stuff. But the owner of the candy shop in front of which this bundle was dropped said that because that's the guy who found it and then gave it to the cops. Said it was dropped a good half hour before the killing.
Wow.
So talk about dropping props, and staging,
Right.
staging events, and framing people.
I mean, yeah, it's once you hear stories
Oh,
like
God,
those,
damn, that's-
it's always in the back of your head. You're just like, they can do almost anything. I mean, if that long ago, imagine what they do now. And when I thought about the tapes, I was like, they're probably just waiting for good voice emulators.
oh, right.
You know what I mean?
That sounds like such bullshit.
You
The
know what I mean?
tapes,
Because
the
they have
reality of
the face technology now.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So imagine,
Especially on an
or in the
old
voice,
black
actually.
and white shitty film, deepfake would look fine. You
Well,
wouldn't be able to tell.
They did it in Forrest
Forrest
Gump.
Gump. That's right. Forrest Gump. And now we can do it so much better.
Yeah, I was
don't
like,
think-
so there's no.
I don't think the tapes will overcome. They've teased them for 50, 70, who knows? I don't know how many
Yeah,
years,
yeah.
but bring them.
Yeah.
Go ahead, release this shit. I'd love to see it or hear it if it's real.
Yeah, I was like, you really want to piss black people off? I was like, talk about one of the biggest martyrs in fucking
I hope to God
history.
nothing ever gets released like that, dude. Seriously, because people shit on him enough as it is. They don't think he,
Well, imagine the blowback of those are like, oh, it's true, and then those are like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then everybody in between. It's
Well, that story is my awakening. And MLK's always been my hero, and so like the BLM stuff, their chants were making me mad, or whenever they would say they were intentionally denigrating MLK, like they were
Right.
saying illogical stuff like, well, he was for peace, but he got killed, so what good did that do him? Or
what
they were
the
saying,
fuck does that mean?
or they were
right.
saying,
Oh, he succeeded.
or they would say,
He was a healthcure worker, but he died of illness. So
So fuck
yeah,
him.
they said we tried it. We tried it MLK's way. Now we're doing it.
Right,
It's
like,
why
no,
do you
no.
have to trash him to
He
make
made-
your side seem like
No, he made giant accomplishments, and it wasn't just black people. It was a handful of every other color involved
Right.
to move and do the Civil War.
civil rights.
Civil Rights Act. I was like, people are retards. I was like, to even
And
think.
obviously, it didn't just make everything perfect, but dude, it made a lot of strides. I mean, he did so much. He did.
I was like, and it sickens me to think that people are just stomping and spitting on his grave.
Can I say one more thing about his death?
Oh, go ahead.
Just one little factoid.
Oh, no.
He was murdered 1 year to the day after he came out publicly in the famous Riverside speech against the war in Vietnam.
Whoa.
And on that day,
Wow.
the military intelligence started surveilling him, not just the
Ooh.
FBI.
Wow.
So it's not just the FBI who should have tapes of him raping prostitutes and beating the shit out of his lovers, and, like eating dude ass in orgies and stuff.
Right?
It should be like a whole lot of agencies
Wow.
involved.
and,
Yeah.
and they also have photographs of his death, so they would,
Wow.
Yeah,
have
dude.
that little
Hoover was all over his ass. They would have had, like you said, they would have had tapes already. They would have had all that shit by
Yeah,
now.
like, oh yeah, you think you're so great? Check this out. Yeah, they would have released it by
Even
now.
if, like you said, there's no evidence. Maybe I don't know if there is or not about him being a womanizer. I thought there was, but even if he was, I don't care, and who cares? Like, big
Right.
deal. Like,
Well,
I agree.
Yeah, it's kind of like Jesus. You know what I mean? I was like, say what you want about the guy, whether he's son of a living God or whatnot. I was like, the guy had a great message.
yeah, it was a good
He
man.
was killed for it.
Yeah, and he's killed for it. You know what I mean? I was like any martyr. I was like, well, like any martyr, but like most good martyrs. I was, you know what I mean? Like the message was driven home, regardless of what you think. You know what I mean? And it can make your life better. Regardless.
Oh, you know what this reminds me of? Trashing the guy to throw his message out with him or whatever. This reminds me of like two things. First, it reminds me of everybody using everybody just trusting the authorities. Like
Okay.
Fauci or whatever.
Yeah, right.
I'm not the expert. He's the expert. That's not logical. That's not a logical reason to believe anything they say.
Right. I've never seen that. I've never even heard of this dude up until the corona.
And it's a well-known fallacy of logic. It's called the appeal to authority fallacy, right?
Okay, yeah.
Which the whole world depends on, so nobody ever considers that that's like a well-known, established logical thing or whatever.
Right.
But so then the doctors on the steps, they were trying to use that same thing, right? Like we're doctors, we're experts. Here's what we have to say.
Mm-hmm.
And then the people who attacked that woman who said she's a witch doctor or whatever because she
Yeah.
believes in demons, they were using another logical fallacy. It's called an ad hominem attack, where you attack the person for some other belief. It had nothing to do with what they said on those steps.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
By logic, like by the rules of Greek logic, understanding arguments and stuff like that, you deconstruct them based on the argument at hand, not on what she said on Twitter about demons or something.
Well, that's what gave me such a...
Which she's right about anyway.
Well, that's what gave me such a push for Trump, because I was like, they were using the basic steps to try to demonize him. Yeah. Racist. I was like, oh, you can't argue against that. Right. Usually half the time he was like, well, I've got black friends. I help black people. What was some of the other stuff? He's a fake billionaire or whatever, or millionaire. He's had so many... what was it? Bankruptcies. His businesses went under. So I was like, they've used literally almost every single tactic in the book.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest ones was the day after he was inaugurated was they're like, oh, he removed MLK's bust. And it was immediately debunked, like almost within like the hour. Yeah. They're like, are you retarded? Somebody was standing there. And you just didn't see it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that shit drives me crazy. It sucks too because like 2 years ago, if I had read that I would have just believed it. Like when I was still in that place where I was believing all that shit, like that Trump, but like, because I was there, I hated Trump. I was a total, I believed all that shit, dude. I believed the media's lie, and then I was like, and then I kept seeing more and more stuff about him that just didn't make sense.
Yeah.
And it was so I'm not a huge supporter, but it's ridiculous how much they lie and get away with, and but I would have believed that thing about the MLK thing. It's sad. So I know how that it's bullshit.
Yeah, it's weird for me because since I woke up, I'm like, I don't like presidents. I'm never going to vote for anyone. I'm still not.
Right.
But he confuses me.
Right, you don't know where he's really at. Yeah.
I saw a picture of him the other day, and I had these warm feelings like he was my grandpa or something. I wasn't even close to my grandpa.
That's what he does, man.
Dude, Alyssa Milano, did you see her tweet out? Dude,
not her again.
She literally said... He is horrible and orange. She fucking
racist,
said that.
Man. That's racist.
That's racist as fuck.
I just can't believe. I'm like,
that's her biggest argument. Yeah, right.
Like she said that. And I was like, because I thought that was bullshit. Who says that he's orange? She says it like 3 times. She's like, you should just look it up. It's crazy.
Disparaging the man for his skin color. Yeah, he has no control over that.
That is racist.
Born to orange parents.
I love the whole orange man bad, kind of NPC. Right off.
That's why I'm like, is she trolling us? I'm like,
she said so many dumb shit over the fucking years. It's just like it's pulling all these people out, and it's just exposing them for the the nutless retards they really are.
Like Gal Gadot.
All of Hollywood. Gal, I was like, Gal, no, stay non-biased, stay out of this, stay out of it.
Oh, by the way, that song hits every point of the Communist Manifesto. It's like a 10 point.
Imagine. Yeah, it really does. It does. I was like, I heard it, and I was like, come on, man, it's a Beatles song. Well,
they almost ruined it for me. Like I know it's communist freaking propaganda, but I still like it. But like after
the idea itself,
yeah, of course, it's kind of beautiful. But after that thing, I was like, man, don't run that shit. Like,
it did kind of ruin it, didn't it?
Yeah.
It kind of ruined the song.
Now every time I hear it, I see that fucking
those
video.
assholes. Yeah. Oh my God! I was just like, in Hollywood, they're just starving for attention, because of COVID and whatnot. I was just like, and they were
singers too.
I think Sarah Silverman did it on purpose, but she's a.
Oh yeah.
I used to love her in the Mr. Show.
Well, I used to love Alyssa Milano, but there are a couple of like abortion queens or something.
You're like, oh, yeah. I was like,
I think she's bragged about like terminating her pregnancies.
Yeah, she's like, I wouldn't be where I was at.
I'm not like against that. I just don't. Why would you brag about it?
Right. You're like, that's a private issue. You should, But yeah, but more and more, like every year, that shit was going on with Trump. I was just like, okay, the Women's March. I was like, oh my God, really? You think women aren't important? Like, you don't think you're equal? You're not being, and then the pay gap, and femininity.
That was easily disproven, yeah.
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 And then they had the tons of actors or whatever doing the speech or whatever. Madonna, she's like, I would like to blow up the White House. And I was like,
did she say that?
Yeah, she did.
I mean, to a...
I can't believe she didn't get in trouble for that one.
I missed that.
It was during the pussy hat, women's marches and stuff like that.
Yeah, and what's her name? I can't even think of her name now. She was in Monster.
Oh yeah, Charlize.
Yeah, I'm a nasty woman, and talking about blood on her bed sheets and shit. I was like, oh my fucking god, woman! It's like, jeez, women can be strong without having to talk about their periods.
Yeah, dude.
We all know you have them. Okay, I'm pretty sure you don't have them anymore.
I know that like women think that they don't have woman privilege, which is real.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or that they feel like they're, the victims of society.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's a double thing going on because, like, I could just make a list real quick, like
of how woman privilege
of
is.
how men are instantly mutilated as soon as they're born.
Right.
Women aren't, and that's good that they're not, but neither should men be,
Oh, circumcision.
Let's talk about all of human history where men die so women can
right.
come close to children.
It's always been women and children first.
Yeah.
Men take the brunt end of the...
Men are screwed in custody.
Army.
Men are,
Well, back then, yeah.
Yeah, and in Titanic.
That's best.
That's a perfect explanation.
There was plenty of room on that fucking board, woman.
I know. What's the fuck?
Are you sure that you're the mistreated ones throughout all of human history?
I mean, literally. You could probably go into a store with a guy working, and she's, you're $10 short on an item, and she can just jump up and down. He's, you know what? Come back later.
Right.
I'll pay for that. Nah, don't worry.
Or sometimes women do things like put all of a guy's stuff out on the lawn and light it on fire. Some outrageous criminal act.
Cops are like, man, you shouldn't have screwed that other woman.
They'll be like, you're lucky you're not a guy. You'd be in prison forever.
It's fucking bullshit.
Prison forever.
It is both. It's a huge double standard. It really is.
I used to talk about the days when the feminists and SJWs would just die out. I want it back so bad. 2020 I was like, I need that. I need all
back
that.
With a vengeance, dude. We were just talking about how COVID, when it first happened, that just kind of disappeared. Cancel culture went away, and I thought that it was gone. I thought it was, and then it just came back like with such a fucking vengeance. Like,
yeah, I feel like it was priming us to cancel the whole culture,
right?
For the collapse or whatever.
Right. Yeah. And now they're preparing us for, they got the whole chain shortage thing now.
Yeah.
And trying to get everybody to use cards, get rid of fucking bills, or use more cards, whether go to cashless society. I was like,
yeah, it's kind of funny how they keep unveiling more and more, and it perfectly matches, what David Icke said they were going to do. Right before he got banned.
Yeah.
They were going for a cashless society.
Yeah. I was like, oh, man.
I really wish they'd stop banning conspiracy theorists like that.
Yeah, let the people think what they want to think. Let them put out what they want to. It's like, because, that goes like Trump Jr. was banned from Twitter for retweeting the doctors on the step thing. I was like, again, you're overstepping your boundaries. I was like, you say you're non-biased. So I was like, but clearly you're doing it to appease, your, I don't know, fans or.
It's outrageous. And David Icke. Did you listen to his thing that he got banned for?
No.
He didn't. I don't believe he got banned for saying that coronavirus is caused by 5G, because it's not what he said.
Okay.
But also...
okay, that's where they think that came from? Is that what you...
banned
as I heard that floating around, but I didn't know.
He got banned for saying coronavirus wasn't real and that people needed to stand up.
Wow.
So that's what he got banned, in my opinion.
Right.
That's my analysis.
I know. Okay, so myself, I'm super skeptic about it. I was like, because I believe I got it back in November. I got fucking almost deathly ill, and dude, I coughed for probably 3 months after it was over, and I was like, dude. And then my boss got it, and then one of our other employees got it, and then the whole thing kind of blew up. Was it March?
Yeah, I guess
late January, March. And then I talk, let's say I talk to 100 people a day at my work. Half of them are like, this is total bullshit. It's a flu. I don't understand why we didn't do this. We didn't do anything like this for the swine flu.
Right. Or anything else.
Nobody said shit. I didn't even know it was still around, or whatever. And then I got half of the other people being like, sanitize, mask, the whole nine. And of course, in my head now, it's stuck as I want to be safe. I don't want to kill anyone by making them sick.
Okay.
But the goddamn facts are just all over the fucking place. Or
Yeah,
the
they
facts,
were.
you know what I mean? It's like, oh, you can,
Nice.
if you're young, don't worry. It's older people that get it. Now it's, you're old or young.
I know. I feel so bad because before it came here, when it was just in China, and I was really watching it really closely and all freaking out about it. And I sent you and other people stuff about how, because I had heard, I thought it said young people were dying.
Yeah.
I felt like such a fucking idiot. Like I should have waited.
No, I mean,
Well, it's just so much of it is bullshit or inconsistent with itself. You know, like more than half of what they're claiming isn't real when they're
Right.
admitting to cooking the numbers and stuff like that.
Right, yeah.
Because I also thought that I had it. It takes me a while to come around to cause it seems like I would just jump on the conspiracy thing, but I have a slow mind sometimes. When an event first happens, I like kind of believe it.
Okay.
It took me a while to stop believing in the George Floyd tape until I saw it from like 3 other angles, and there's missing the crowd and stuff. Like that,
Right. Yeah, that whole
like a
man.
different dude.
We go on for hours about that. That thing is bonkers.
Yeah.
I mean, the cop with. I mean, it's like painted on, or it's like it's not even a real badge.
right.
Oh man, don't get me started with this shit, dude.
It's like an electronic sticker.
Yeah, don't get me started on that. But the whole the Corona thing. I was like, I want to be safe at the same time. I was like, but I think it's either just a flu, you know what I mean, and it's being overblown.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I was like, oh, my grandma got it. She died. And I was like, well, she's pretty old, but
Well, there is something that's rarely talked about called the nocebo effect. That's
Okay.
like the placebo effect, but it's basically like the idea that your health can be affected negatively if you're told that you have a diagnosis for something.
Right.
And so, like, that's bound to happen during the hysteria of a pandemic.
Yeah, you
Like,
think you got it.
even if the pandemic is 100% legit, there's going to be people dying from nocebo effect or experiencing,
Yeah.
real symptoms caused by their belief in this thing.
Well, I know someone close to me that she thinks something. I mean, and then the wheels just start turning, and it
Yeah.
will not stop until she's reached a conclusion. And I'm just like, you have to let that go.
Right.
I was like, you cannot think negatively. I was like, pray, read, do something else. I was like, if you're concentrated on, if you're constantly thinking about, I was like, it's bound to come to fruition. And I was like, and I've just trained my mind over the years and stuff. And I was just like, just belief that, you're going to be better. You can't get sick or, because I didn't.
Mind over matter.
Right, mind over matter. I used to get sick once a year. And usually, if I even start talking about it, I start getting sick. You know what I mean? I was like, I've been sick this year, blah, blah, blah. And then, the next day or so, I'm sick. I was like, so I definitely believe over the mind over matter thing. I was like, and just gotta prep yourself.
My kid calls it a superstition.
Yeah.
And I think that's right. Whether it's real or not, it's a myth because the whole world seems to believe in it, and only the counterculture is kind of like, no. Shit is
Well, that's who I tend to believe. I was like, when I hear all the big news heads now, especially nowadays, if I hear them even whisper this kind of stuff, I'm like, I don't believe you. Not 1 second. Not one. I will not give you a second of my time or my life, to thinking this stuff, and I automatically go to the.
Well, one thing is, like, if you look closely enough at anything, it starts to look unreal. You know what I mean? The desert of the real. So if you look close enough at this invisible force, what they call a virus or whatever, you find out that whenever they stick that long swab into the back of your face,
That they're putting it in.
they don't. Okay, they've never. This is what I heard. This is what David Icke says.
Okay.
It seems legit. Basically, my sister's a nurse, and this is appeal to authority fallacy too. But she says it checks out. That what they're actually swabbing for is human DNA or RNA, genetic material.
Huh.
Okay? I don't know why there wouldn't be genetic material in the back of your fucking face. By the way,
Or at least right here in your gums, where most people take like DNA tests, like just swab your mouth.
but it takes years for them to isolate a virus. It took them something like 3 or 4 years before they isolated AIDS, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, whenever this was starting in January or whatever, and even still, they haven't isolated it.
Yeah.
They can't look at coronavirus. Like, everything that we've seen has been like a computer-generated cartoon of a coronavirus, right?
Right.
So, what they do is they swab the back of your face, and then they magnify this to look at it. Because of the structure of DNA, sometime if they magnify it big enough, there's going to be gaps. So if they magnify it big enough to where they don't see any genetic material, that's a negative. That's how they get a negative.
Okay.
If they see meaning if they see human DNA, meaning if somebody had human DNA in the back of their face, in the middle of their head, they get a positive. If that's what they see when they blow it up.
Yeah.
So you see, they're not testing for. There's no test for coronavirus. If you look close enough, which is what most people assume they're doing when they test for it, it's not there.
Huh.
So how can I believe in this shit?
Right. Now, that's an awesome way to think about it. I mean, oh man, that's crazy.
You guys double check that.
What do you think?
Please
What do you think?
No, I think it's very real. I think it exists. But I'll I don't know, look into it. Yeah.
He's like, hey man, I'm just here. I'm just having a good time, baby. No, it's I don't know. I'm in between that. It's real, but it's not so real that it's just knocking motherfuckers out left and right.
The problem is like I can't. The reason I can't elaborate, or I don't want to elaborate, is because I just don't know enough about viruses and medicine, and the medical community and the way they test for that sort of stuff. So I don't want to act like I do.
Right? So, like, nah, son. Well, what is it? Okay. So when I look at it, the CDC having to apologize, for coming up with bullshit numbers. I was like, Florida getting busted, cooking the books. Right. I was like, watching doctors and nurses on TikTok making videos in the midst of a fucking pandemic. I was like, you don't look busy at all. You know what I mean? And then I get multiple stories coming out of Jane Phillips here, is that the rooms are booked. It's packed full. Right. And then other times it's like, nah. We got nothing to do. It's like there's nobody there. Well, so I'm like, who the fuck do you believe in this kind of situation?
I take my kid to urgent care.
Okay.
And she got sick, so I took her to urgent care, to the one at the hospital. Ghost town. Freaking tumbleweeds in there. Right? We're the only ones in there. And I'm like, where's all the dying people?
Yeah, where's all the...
And this was months ago,
Wow, in the heart of it, yeah.
Yeah, and the ventilator thing, I don't hear shit about ventilators anymore.
Right.
And that was a weird thing.
I think that turned out not to be. In fact, didn't that turn out to be that we were killing? It was killing more people than.
Right.
Yeah. Like
New York, and they were receiving them. It's like, but they were putting them in basements, because they didn't need them.
Well, my sister always told me once you get on a ventilator, you're already dead. That's why they're keeping you breathing so they can harvest your organs.
Right.
Yeah, which I don't know if that's what they're doing now.
Right.
But yeah.
But they're saying that once you put them on, the body just kind of gives up.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, he's not even breathing on his own, so
might as well.
Yeah.
Here's the thing I'm worried about though, like the overreaction to it, even if it were real, is horrible.
Right. Well, seeing people
yeah, dude. Yeah.
You see people online, people are being terrible to each other.
Just the fear, and acting like draconian measures everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not social distancing.
Right.
It's like multiple Karens online. Lady, did you see the latest one about the lady in Walmart? And the guy didn't have a mask on, neither did his kids.
Yeah.
And she's yelling at him. She's like, I hope you all die.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my god.
Him.
Yeah.
It's fucking.
I was like, Jesus, lady.
Ridiculous.
You have a mask on. Why are you worried?
Yeah, that's what bugs me is the fascism, or then people thinking the problem with somebody thinking they have authority over another person to put a mask on their face.
Yeah.
Whenever they're just another person is like it's dangerous because of that Stanford prison experiment. What that showed, people get a little bit of power and immediately become abusive with it.
Immediately.
And so the Karens that stand guard. Like at the mall, so you won't dare walk into Bath and Body Works without a mask on, and they look like a little turtle that's gonna throw hammers at you or whatever. Like if you
try to take your one-ups.
But that's what I'm worried about is the fascism, the dictatorship, the New World Order.
Right.
That's
I was like,
big creeping.
Ugh. While we're on that subject, like vaccines and stuff, we're not big on it, and I'm not like just out there about it, somebody asked me, I was like, no, we just don't do it. Yeah. I was like, Sheena did it to the first 3, and I just said no. I was like, we are not going to do it, and I was like, I'm just going to take care of my kids. They get sick, I'll medicine. If they get too sick, I'll take them to the hospital.
Right.
And the only real problem we've ever had out of this was the public school. Mm-hmm. And Oklahoma's pretty lenient about it. Usually you can just pull the paper up offline, and just sign it and give it to them. And it's no word about it. But like every last 3 years, you know, they're like, well, we don't know if this paper checks out, you know, blah, blah, blah. I was like, it's worked, you know, the first two. So I don't understand what's the problem now.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, you know, we're just concerned. I was like, don't. You know, we're the parents. If you don't want them in the school, then just tell us. I was like, other we'll be gone. You know, we'll go somewhere else. I was like, but other than that, I was like, we're the parents. I was like, and we know what's best for him. You know, and Miles was sick when he was first born. That was it. The guy is a fucking tank. You know, Anaya had her adenoids taken out. That's about the most she's ever been sick. You know what I mean? Is just through that. Yeah. And I was like, and I keep praying every day, you know, I was like, that this works, you know, I was like, hell, if anything, it's kind of like a test, you know, I'm using them like test subjects, you know what I mean? No. But you see where I'm getting at. It's just like, I'm doing it my way, and I pray to God that it works, because the only thing I think I would ever get them a shot for, or a vaccine, would be like tetanus. You know what I mean? Like they stepped on a rusty nail, or rabies.
But tetanus is weird, because maybe I don't understand how vaccines work. I thought, because every time I stepped on a nail and went and got a tetanus shot, I'm like, but wait, isn't a tetanus shot tetanus? Aren't I going to get it for sure now? Or
Then they put it in there, yeah.
Isn't it too little too late? What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm not too big, and then people shit on me. I don't know. I don't think I've ever gotten real shit on Facebook about it. But, you know, it's the whole thing. It was just like, why are you worried about my kids if your kids are vaccinated? Yeah. It's like, aren't you safe? Aren't they safe?
That's true.
I'm an anti-masker, too, on principle.
Yeah.
You know?
Right, yeah.
It's abusive. I don't want them doing that to people.
And now they're going back to school, and now we have that hard choice. It's like, are we going to keep them home, do it online?
Not everyone has that choice either, and that sucks. So that's why they shouldn't be mandating it,
right.
I think. You know?
Sheena wants to homeschool. I'm just like, let's let them go. And I think the only way they're going to make them wear it in Dewey is when they're eating lunch and in the hallway. But classrooms, you don't have to wear it.
That's good.
So I was like, I want them out of the house, but I don't want them to have to deal with this shit.
I wouldn't want someone masked for 7 hours. You know?
Right. I was like, that's going to fuck your respiratory system up in general.
My sister had a heart attack on a plane because she
had to wear
with her mask on.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's not the
total.
Yeah, but it can happen. That's why on the CDC website it says don't wear it if you're unconscious. You know.
If you're unconscious, how the fuck are you supposed to do that?
But in these mandated places, like if a school has kids masked up for 7 hours, some of them are gonna fall asleep because they do anyway.
Yeah.
But if your reality sucks, you're gonna tap out. You know.
What was it? It's like, I think what was like, I don't know, 1 or 2 stories that came out of China. It was like kids are running with masks on. Like 1 or 2 of them have died from it already.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's just not good.
See, and all they say is to wear masks. They're not telling you what to do if you do have COVID. Because if, like, I know I'm talking about it like I believe in it right now. but at a certain point in this process, I did believe it, and I thought I had it too. I thought I had it early at Christmas time.
Okay.
Because I had pneumonia and I passed out.
Oh,
like,
wow.
I couldn't breathe whenever I coughed, and it freaked me out. It made me
faint. Panic or
and I had a head hit. And those are serious things. You can die from a head hit.
Yeah, especially being out like that, or nobody knows that you're out. Damn.
Yeah, so they need to tell people that if they start coughing and they can't breathe because they've made it to pneumonia, which I understand is like the dangerous point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the danger zone of it. You just got to, when you feel that you can't breathe, you got to sit down on the ground, or you probably won't even pass out. Right. That's what I learned from my experience having pneumonia and stuff. So I wish they'd tell everyone that. Shit, we'd have less deaths.
Oh my God, you're telling me, man. Fucking, let's see here. Where are we at? Oh, damn, we're at 1:30. That's pretty good. All right, we'll wrap this up here. Is there anything else you guys wanted to talk about?
Something happened in the news or anything?
Yeah,
we covered a lot.
Oh, by the way, I was just kidding. I don't believe in conspiracy theories.
Yeah, gotcha. What's that? It's that. Oh yeah, there's something else I want. I don't think we've talked since the whole new Star Wars has come out.
Oh yeah.
What did you think about that? I know this is a total.
Were you a Star Wars fan, or are you a Star Wars fan?
I kind of, yeah. I don't know, becoming less so. I thought that shit was weak and unplanned, and the middle of it made me angry. And it.
Oh, the latest one.
The latest trilogy. The last
3
story. You know, where Luke was sucking an animal's tit.
Oh
I
God,
don't
Last Jedi.
God, I mean, all the like. Okay, so the second one was the big breaker. Like,
Yeah.
everyone was like, okay, first one we're like, all right, we're working into it, and then they just laid it home and killed it.
Yeah, dude. Why would they let him go his own way like that? With that, I mean, Abrams, whether you like it or not, he had some stuff set up.
Right.
Why would they let Ryan Johnson just?
Like, we're gonna throw it out the window. We're gonna do
whatever
it
you
my
want.
way,
Yeah.
guys.
I do kind of like. This is weird for not liking the movie, but I do kind of like how the way Luke ended things. Projecting himself. That was kind of cool. I thought.
I was totally against that, but that was probably the worst fucking part.
I know that's what everyone hates. This whole part. I kind of enjoy it.
If it could have done it maybe in a different way
Yeah.
than the way it went down, I may have accepted it, right? Because it was awesome. Nobody's done that yet, right? In Star Wars, they projected themselves in a fight across the universe or whatever,
Yeah.
but they end up dying from it. I was like,
But also that girl and that boy were
Kylo.
projecting each other across, like text messaging with their brains and kissing and stuff. That was weak.
I need to rewatch it. I gotta rewatch that.
that was terrible. Yeah, she was like water splashed on her, and they could see each other. Like he had his shirt off and he was super wide or whatever.
Here's what happens to me. I see it in the theater. This is what happened with Last Jedi. I see it in the theater. I love it because I'm in the moment and everything's loud and big and shit. And then I start thinking about it, and then I see it again. I'm like, this sucks. That's how Last Jedi. I hated it.
Yeah.
But I've only seen Rise of Skywalker once in the theater.
Yeah,
So
we
I
went and
need to
watched
rewatch
it. We wanted to finish it out, right?
It was alright.
And I was,
And I liked it, but then again, like I said, I was caught up in it. So.
right. Well, so it wasn't bad, but it wasn't good.
The whole trilogy.
It was like something's missing
exactly.
here. Maybe a whole second movie that should have pushed this thing along because they brought back Palpatine. I was like, dude, what a fucking. I was like, man, God bless America. I was like, how do you do that? I was like, he's been dead for the longest.
They had another villain set up. It was supposed to be the Matt Shepard.
Yeah. What was it? I can't even think of his name now because they cut him in half in the second one.
Darth Maul?
Darth Maul. He came back. He's back.
No.
What was his name? The big
Darth
bad.
Snoke.
Yeah, the Snoke.
Snoke. Yeah, what the fuck?
I was like, oh, this dude's gonna be badass. I was like, man, he is gonna make. I was like, because he's spinning her around. He's making Kylo look like a bitch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, this dude's more threatening, I think, than Darth Vader. Okay. You know what I mean? I loved him. I loved the villain aspect of him. I was like, and then now he's dead. I was like, he's gonna come back though, right?
They just made everything less cool in the second one because Snoke was like, he looked like a giant. That was going to be cool.
Right.
And it turned out he was just a
regular dude.
Well, he's a regular tall dude. He's fucking terrible. I was like, that's how a villain should look. It's figured, evil as shit, playing everybody's fools. I love that. And then I like Kylo too. Like everybody, I don't think a lot of people kind of liked him.
I did.
But
I liked him.
I liked the way it was going with him. He's Han Solo's son, and son of Leia. So
I liked Jar Jar.
I like Jar Jar thinking he's a Sith Lord.
Yeah,
That's the only way I'll accept him.
It's funny though, like the prequels. I don't like the prequels, but I never really was annoyed with Jar Jar.
Really?
Yeah, at all. I didn't care. I didn't like him either, but I didn't care.
He was just comic relief to
he was
you,
like,
basically.
whatever. I just didn't like the prequels at all. Like,
I didn't have a problem with. I heard that he was like a racist character or whatever, and I didn't know better. And then I saw some like old minstrel show shit, and they were saying "Wisa Wisa the Naboo," and I was like, "Holy shit! It's really insanely racist."
wow.
And they had the Chinese guys, the diplomats there. Oh, he's coming down the stairs. I was like, oh man,
Yeah.
not a good look.
Poor George Lucas.
Could I want to criticize the end of the original trilogy.
Okay.
It's supposed to be like the greatest end because it's got like. Have you guys seen Moana? They say the best ending of a movie is like whenever the hero wins the heart of the villain instead of like just murdering him.
Okay.
Because most of the time it's murder, but like
Yeah.
every once in a while they win the heart of the other dude, save his soul.
That was a good ending. Yeah.
So in Star Wars, like Luke saves his dad's soul, right? Mm-hmm. And then the first thing that does is. The first thing Daddy does is murder his mentor, right? He doesn't see any redeeming qualities in him. Was he really changed?
Well, no.
And then in the prequel trilogy, you find out, all right, so Darth Vader killed his master, which is what all Sith apprentices do
Right.
to become the Dark Lord or whatever. It just makes me second guess.
Yeah, I didn't think about
Like,
that.
It makes me second guess whether, Vader was really redeemed or whatever.
Right. Well,
That's funny. I hadn't thought about
you always have to look back at that. And the newest ones made the prequels masterpieces to me. You know what I mean? I mean, aside from the CGI, the overloaded CGI, and the robotic talking, I almost look past it. Hell, I even felt more for Anakin's part. Is shit acting. I was like, no, he was robotic because eventually Darth Vader is robotic.
I like when he was surfing on those big, fat, goofy cows to, impress them.
Oh, my God.
Those big hump fucking ticks or whatever.
They look like overblown tits.
Yeah, I will never like it, but I appreciate it.
More?
Yeah.
More, yeah.
Definitely.
Because they were going in the right direction with the first one, and then I was more than willing to accept that Rey was either Obi-Wan's offspring or somebody's, you know what I mean? Instead, who was she? Did it ever?
His
just a nobody.
Palpatine's granddaughter.
Palpatine. Oh, fuck. I fucking hate these movies. God damn it. The more I think about it, the more and more I just am done. But Mandalorian was good.
Yeah.
Do you like that?
Oh, yeah. Baby Yoda's awesome.
Yeah. I was like, wait until he murders somebody. Then you're going to be on the Baby Yoda bandwagon. Technically, he did help murder that animal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He was trying to choke all kinds of people.
Yeah, he tried to choke the girl.
True.
But he's trying to hurt the Mando, you can't fuck with Mando. And Anaya, she loves it. And Mason loves it. And I was like, okay, so they've done something right when kids are involved with something they barely even know. Like, because I've sat them down and I've had them watch the prequels, the originals.
Yeah.
And then I think we all watched the first, the new one. And then they were like, oh, when's the next one coming out, Dad? And I was like, oh, they've got the third one out already. They're like, oh, why we haven't watched them? We're not. Like, we're done. We're done with that. But you got any future plans, Rudy? You have anything you have in the future that...
I don't even think there's a future.
It's like we're just living all out of time.
Yeah, like I told my mom when this first happened, I was like, at least we made it to the end. And she was like, this is just the beginning of the end.
Oh, damn. You have much to learn, young one.
Yeah.
No, but man, that's what I always appreciated about you, man. You are out of the box, I don't want to say not set in reality, but...
Yeah, well, actually, I would agree with you if you just acknowledged that I don't live in reality.
Right? That's what I love it. I mean, because... what was I watching Con Air the other day, and, Steve Buscemi's character, he's like, well, wouldn't you call insane working in an office job for 50 years,
right.
Getting shit canned,
right.
And dying on the bathroom.
Oh.
You know what I mean? I was just like, it's kind of that kind of back and forth, thinking outside of that, it's just like, I wish I could just live like that, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
But when Anaya was born, I think that's when my conspiracy story stopped. Because I had to look more into her, and I was just like, what are people going to think about me? You know what I mean? And then I'm her father, what are they going to think of her? I got to start building more bridges, even though I may not agree with people. Mm-hmm. I was like, I've got to at least put my hand across the thing and be like, you know what? Let's agree to disagree. Yeah. You know what I mean? And stuff that I can't prove logically, I'm just going to kind of keep under the base unless someone brings it up.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I've calmed down a lot. I've always felt more free inside my own mind to disagree with people. So a lot of times I don't need to say anything. You know what I mean? Like in my head, I'm disagreeing. That's good enough. I'm free in here. You know?
That's important.
I think that's becoming an adult.
Right, exactly.
Which
you know
took me like
dude
20 extra years.
Me too.
Definitely, yeah, man. It's just a part of growing up. You're like, you know what?
Yeah,
I got bills to pay, and
yeah, and those babies are worth living for.
Exactly.
Not getting killed over,
Yeah. No,
expressing yourself.
Right, whatever.
Well, on that note, I do appreciate you guys stopping by and having a good listen.
It's good to have you here, man.
Right on.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming back, Rudy. It's been a long time, man. Guys, like, comment, subscribe. Check out the podcast. We'll be uploading here soon. See you next time.
Adios.
Bye-bye.